Welcome back to another episode of Broadband Heroes, the podcast where we talk about all things broadband and nothing is off limits. Today, we have some amazing guests to talk about, I would say, one of the biggest industry events of the year and in our space, Fiber Connect. Before we get into that, though, let's do some introductions so everybody knows who's on the pod today, and then we'll jump right into it. So I'm going to start on the bottom left of my screen. Josh. Who are you? What do you do?
Happy to be here, Nick. I'm Josh Orlowitz. I'm the Director of Strategy and Planning at Bonfire Infrastructure Group. So I focus really on helping municipalities, tribal entities, and other communities and internet providers figure out kind of the art of possible from where they want to go, what they want to deploy, how they deploy, how they can finance their network, and ultimately make sure that PowerPoint and Excel can turn into actionable shovels and grounds and people connected.
All right, well, welcome. All right, next on my screen, Jessica. Who are you? I mean, besides the conference chair, but who are you?
My name is Jessica Koch. I am the financial controller for Consolidated Business Services located in the Willamette Valley of Oregon. And like you said, I am the conference chair for the Fiber Broadband Association.
Awesome. Well, welcome. And last, but certainly not least, Patrick.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here today. Looking forward to talking about Fiber Connect, which is actually the biggest event in fiber broadband. So everybody can bank on that. I'm the Director of Government Affairs at Ripple Fiber. I'm the vice chair of the conference committee, and I spend most of my time helping people navigate complex administrative processes.
Thanks so much for joining, you guys. I know you bring a wealth of experience for this conversation. So let's just start off with Fiber Connect's been around for a while. And obviously, as the conference chair, Jessica, if you think about what some of the biggest shifts have been in the last several years, as we go into this year, 2026, what's the biggest shift you've seen that this Fiber Connect's going to be about?
Yeah, so I'm going to start by just saying 25 years. We're celebrating 25 years at this Fiber Connect. So that's super exciting. And I think the big shift over the last 25 years has been proving out the true value of fiber, right? I mean, I think when you go back 25 years, we knew fiber was going to be a big thing, but we didn't know all the gates it was going to open, right? And where we were going to be 25 years down the road. So I think you'll find that Fiber Connect 2026 is going to be about celebrating all those accomplishments, celebrating all of the leaders in this industry that have made those things happen, and then bringing to the stages visionaries for what's going to happen in the next 25 years and what those gates are going to look like. So I think it's just a transition. When I think about 25 years historical and the next 25 years looking forward, it's about really proving out fiber's purpose and value, and now looking forward of really where we're going and what fiber enables, not only in terms of work and education, but now looking at telehealth and hyperscalers and all things that are visionary going forward.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to believe if you think about the next 25 years. That's almost mind-blowing of what could happen in 25 years from now with fiber. So Josh, from your perspective though, I mean, you've been around a while in this industry as well. I mean, what are you seeing as we get into this, the 25th year of Fiber Connect and talking about fiber? What are you looking forward to?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it's an important topic here on the economics of fiber and how we ultimately move to activation. When I started my career in telecom, it was all about building out homes, which is still very important, but everything was focused on what the economics were of the build, right? What's the cost per passing? And there was not a lot of thought into, well, what happens when you build that passing? Now I think we're at the point where, 85 million homes are built with fiber. There's a clear path to 90+%. Now it's how do we get homes connected onto fiber to understand the benefits of this and what can we do as an organization, as a broader community of providers to make sure that folks see the value here and understand when they have that option, what it can provide them.
Patrick, you're a policy guy, you've been sitting in that seat for a while. What conversations that were maybe on the back burner or not on the main stage are now front and center in this year's conference, and that you guys are really, as an organization, wanting to push forward and have more harder conversations about?
Yeah, thank you. I think that prior to very recently, all of the industry's focus has necessarily been on construction practices, technologies, equipment and materials, funding structures, like whether it's public equity or private equity, where are you getting your money from to build the infrastructure? But now, I think everybody has come to the realization that we're built, like Josh said, we'll be able to feasibly approach 90% coverage. So then what? I think we've made a conscious decision at the Fiber Broadband Association to try to pivot the conversations about, well, who benefits from all of this ubiquitous, high-speed, future-proof, low latency infrastructure. And Jessica mentioned telehealth and education. And like Josh said, what are these technologies enabling? And so we're curating some conversations at this year's Fiber Connect to specifically focus on telehealth, for example, or precision agriculture, which, by the way, is kind of an industry that wouldn't exist if it weren't for the capabilities of fiber data infrastructure, really changing a field just by having access to high-speed data. Online education, we're talking about streaming and the opportunities that people are leveraging high-speed data for streaming live content or streaming games, play esports and all these sorts of pastimes that are now becoming really the economic underpinnings of a lot of people's lives.
Yeah,
so,
you can now get you can go to school for e-gaming, right? Like
you can
scholarships,
you
and things
can
like that.
compete in international tournaments from your couch because you have a high-speed data connection.
Yeah, it's like curling, right? You can do different. Anybody can do these sports, right?
Yes, it's true. Yeah, that's right.
I think we owe it to the listeners. And I'm not saying, I don't think anyone's saying that, hey, look, to get to 90% is easy, but the path is there. There's still a lot of hard work, and the chunk of homes that are left are sort of by definition getting harder and harder, more expensive to build every day. But that also necessitates us thinking about more than just the cost to pass. Right now, it's the cost per subscriber, and how you generate revenue matters, and how you interact with your customer to make sure that you're capturing more of their mind, more of their wallet is important. And that's the key focus now, is what do you do with this? And we'll talk about bundling and all these different.
Let's go down that path, Josh, though. Do you think, you of all people had the experience of, working from planning all the way to the execution. We have, tracks around, as they said, precision ag, telehealth, streaming gaming, like convincing a community that that's real. Hard sell? Not a hard sell.
That it's real?
Yeah, that it's real.
It depends the community, to be honest with you. I think that it's a hard sell for folks, a lot of folks who hear, you're just going to be tearing up my streets. The way I think about it is there's like the domino of what matters to each person. And really it's first about bringing affordable connectivity and what that means, and then all the different benefits in that community. So it could be telehealth. We do a lot of rural work at Bonfire for rural America, and the ability just to be able to not have to drive 2 hours so that you can have a high definition video. And if, I don't know, if you have a rash or something, right? A doctor can see that to say, hey, yeah, you should spend the gas money to go 2 hours and wait in an ER or in a clinic. Or no, I think you're good. I can prescribe you steroid cream. And that's huge. And that doesn't exist. A lot of folks now are still on, the 10-1 calf. And they can't do that. They can't mobile bank. They get a check. What do they have to do? They have to drive 45 minutes to cash a check. That's what we're doing. It's real impact daily. And so I think precision ag is important, but it's a little bit further down from, I think, what touches the consumer daily. And that's really, from my view, the real benefit, tangible benefit to everyone.
Back to the question that we started with, when you think about where the last 25 years were focused, it was about getting connectivity to every home. Now we're hearing things like fiber to the last acre, right? And so I think what's great about Patrick and I being chair and vice chair, the conference committee, is what I do every day focuses on a lot of rural environments, strictly rural environments. And Patrick does a lot of things every day in more urban settings, right? It brings a full circle vision for what our conferences are about, because we're always talking about every touch point that broadband brings to conferences, right? So we're talking about all of the things related to concerns people have about digging up streets and yards. And we're talking about getting to that person who's on the last corner of that last acre, 20 miles from urban, right?
When you think about the organization, obviously FBA is diverse, right? A lot of diverse membership, which is great and adds a lot of value. Do you think, was there internal debate, even in the planning committee of this 25th year event, where you are moving, right? You're debating a lot of these more, it's beyond the construction. It is the activation piece. Do you think people will struggle with that, or do you think people will embrace this kind of a new approach?
I think that's what sets FBA apart from other associations and other, education hubs is we bring together all the players, all the perspectives, right? We're not just focused on rural elects or rural electrics or munis or whomever, we bring together all the operator types that are focused on delivering fiber, and we bring all of the activation points. We bring those focused on rural innovation. We bring those focused on data centers and hyperscalers. We bring all of those attendees to one spot to have these conversations, because no matter if you're a small operator or a large operator, somebody in your community is asking these questions.
Yeah. So, I think now that the tracks are now set up to really focus on activation from a policy perspective, will there be conversations? Like, is the conversation around BEAD? Is the conversation around, all the financial and the policy? Is that still going to be a part of the journey for the members that come?
Yeah, I would say that those are sort of the environment that we're working in now. These types of considerations are now woven into really all of the conversations that we're having. It's become the sort of the language that we speak in order to communicate about broadband anymore. Are those larger, I think, policy issues? I think what I'm hoping to hear more about is maybe people discuss how to maintain fiber's dominance as a telecommunications infrastructure. There seems
so no
to be
talking about Leo, huh?
Well, in the context of why it's an inferior technology, sure. For most of our industry, the fiber broadband industry, we have the superior technology, and I would like for us to be more proactive in our asserting that fact. I think that policymakers at the federal level, in particular, need to hear more clearly what it means that you have a future-proof technology in the ground. It's like a 30 to 50-year lifespan. The types of the
generational view, basically, right? Like,
yeah, we're having an effect on, and this, the future here. Like, we're living in the future right now. I can't believe the type of connectivity that I have in my house, that we're able to do this. It just blows my mind. This is like science fiction from when I was a teenager, and we're living it. It's cool.
I see Rosie the robot behind you, so I don't know.
Yeah, like the Jetsons, right?
So let me ask you this. I think that is important. I think if, the track is focused on a lot of these new things and the activation, I think we have to be able to help people that get called out, right? So either be service providers or communities that do get pushed by policy or other people saying, hey, there's other technologies. Is the conference a place, and is there going to be a place where they can help? It's not even education, right? It's like they need the good story to be able to push back when people say, hey, just do Leo, it's okay. When we know that isn't the superior technology, right?
Like, I don't want the Leo stands to come after me here, but because like there are obviously there are better applications. Like Leo is a solution. Fixed wireless is a solution for sure. Those are only solutions because there isn't an opportunity to get fiber, and if you can get fiber, you get fiber.
What's important about that calculus is it's not just, okay, it's cost to pass and you're going to get $60 a month from the customer. With all these new applications around precision ag, around the data center build out, right? Going gangbusters now. It may not just be, hey, you're building to this home 20 miles down the road, because maybe 20 miles past that home is a vacant parcel of land that has power and is being developed as a data center. Now you can change the economics of that route. And so I think with everything going on in our industry, especially what's happening in rural America in these applications, there's an ability to change how we look at our planning, to look at sort of a broader revenue density per mile, and we can get to more homes. But I agree too. We believe in fiber, but we also have fixed wireless. We believe hybrid is the right approach. A home that costs $100,000, that's probably a good use case for a $600 Leo. Right. That there's a break point. I don't know if it's 100,000 or what the number is, but I think we can all agree that there are multiple tools and technologies, and they should all be used and have their place.
All right. So obviously AI is driving a lot of activity, both in supply chain and just demand, which is good. It's good for enablement for people to do more with the technology. But is there a concern about it pulling away from communities that are trying to deploy right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's certainly impacting the supply chain, right? Because there is demand there. But I think that data centers are still a bit niche in that they're not impacting every community. They're pretty specific or more intentional about where they're being placed. And so not every operator today is looking at placing a data center or becoming engaged with, investment in a data center. And so I think it's a very specific audience that's laser focused on data center deployment. Not to say that that's not some operators, but I think operators themselves are still laser focused on completing their deployments to the home, to the business, to the hubs of their communities with future line of sight to what are opportunities with data centers and how do they impact our business model.
All right, let's pivot to the preview. We want to give the audience, the listeners, but this will be out before the event, to give them a little tease about what's going to be happening. And if somebody, an attendee for the conference, had to come for just one thing, what should they really focus on? And it could be obviously the difference between an ISP, a leader of an ISP, it could be a county manager, it could be somebody who's just brand new to the industry and trying to get their feet wet. What would it be?
Wow. Well, I'm gonna pick Dr. Michio Kaku, right? Like that's huge. And if you come for that event happening on Wednesday,
explain that more. Like getting a physicist to come to an event like this.
Yeah, I think it's instrumental to what we've been talking about this whole podcast, and that's the shift that's taking place, right? We're no longer just focused on hearing from what's happening at the local or the state or the national level. Now we're engaging with speakers who are going to bring future visions to us, right? About what's possible, what the latest and greatest theories are, if you will, about where technology may lead us. And I think that's exciting, right? That's what revs the engines of our attendees about what could be, what's next with this fiber infrastructure. We've spent millions of dollars placing fiber in the ground or hanging fiber on poles. And so what does the next 25 years look like? And I think that's exciting because we've kind of, if you think about it, with all this fiber deployment, we've kind of come to the top of the hill, right? Or the top of the mountain. And now we're getting an opportunity to look out over the vast landscape of what can be with this fiber infrastructure. And I think speakers like Dr. Kaku are going to really start to paint that landscape a little bit. And I think that's exciting.
That's awesome. Josh, as an attendee, and you're on panels as well, like what are you most excited about? I mean, this is it is like the Super Bowl for us in the fiber and telecom space. So
the ability to have the hallway conversations at an event like Fiber Connect, last year, thinking about Nashville, just the scale of the sheer number of folks, and as you said, the different backgrounds. You've got investors, community members, internet providers, vendors, suppliers. I mean, everyone is here. And so you can really solve just about any issue that you're facing. There's someone here who can help you. And so if that's in the exhibit hall, if that's in the hallways, if that's going to sessions they're on, I mean, it's the ability to get at basically any company, any person in one space over the course of 3 or 4 days.
Patrick, is there somebody, a speaker, a session, just that like you think maybe isn't getting enough attention? It's like they're kind of the sleeper in there that like people don't know much about, but damn, it'd be a good panel or a good talk to go to. And it can't be yours. It can't be yours or Jessica.
Well, then let me rephrase this. No. I mean, this is so. I'm interested in the boring stuff. There's a pre-conference workshop that we call the Fiber Broadband Starter Toolkit, and it's like construction practices and how to load your network and like just the ABCs of running a fiber broadband business. I find those things interesting. So I think Sunday is underplayed. First of all, it's like pre-conference, so that people come to that. Also, it's like stuff that people know, but I still like hearing people talk about it. Innovations or maybe interesting stories. Go for the spectacle of Fiber Connect. It's at the Gaylord Palms. That hotel is just outrageous. It has a Spanish fort under an atrium inside of it. It's like a riverboat cruise inside the water park. It's amazing. But until you've seen Fiber Connect, you haven't been to Fiber Connect, you got to go to Fiber Connect because it is a spectacle. There are thousands of people like everybody seems to know each other, like almost pyrotechnic scale stage effects. And then, of course, some really interesting conversations. But it's just, the whole thing is just so stimulating. The time passes quickly. It's so much fun. I really enjoy going to this particular show. And I know it's all serious business, right? We're here for our business, but this is actually a lot of fun, y'all. Like, you should come for the fun.
Awesome. All right, we're going to close with a lightning round, have a little bit of fun with you guys. We do this on a lot of the episodes. The audience will know this because we'll obviously edit it out, but obviously we had a little bit of some technical hiccups today as we went through this. So in your house right now, fiber, not fiber? What does it go around the horn? Jessica?
Absolutely fiber.
All right, Josh?
I'm on cable.
No way.
All right, Patrick?
I'm on symmetrical gigabit fiber.
Well, hey, we got 2 out of 3 on fiber. Well, actually, 3 out of 4, because I'm on fiber too, gigafiber. What is the most hyped buzzword in broadband now? And probably we could have a drinking game about how many times you hear it when you go to Fiber Connect at the bar. So what's that word that just people constantly maybe should just let it go and just stop using that buzzword?
Well, I don't think we should stop and let it go, but AI, certainly you're going to hear that a million times.
Yeah, I would say AI. I mean, everything's AI. You can't escape the AI. But
I mean, I'm not really real. I'm actually an AI avatar right now doing this podcast.
I saw you that when I came on, I was thinking that is that really him, or is he using an AI avatar?
Yeah. Josh, what about you? What's the overhyped buzzword?
I might say gigabit. You know, I think that we need to move from the speed to converging around, one provider came out with a really awesome packaging strategy. And there was a great quote they had, which was, hey, there's one internet, why buy it twice? And I think it speaks to what we're really selling, right? It's whether you're on your phone, your computer, leaving your home in your car, watching Netflix, we're selling a whole digital experience. And I think the speed, it needs to be good, but gigabit isn't the selling. And so I think, that's something that still talked about. I think maybe we're moving away from it and more on the experience, but I'm picking something other than AI. I was going to say it too,
Nice.
but
All right. Okay. What's the one thing the broadband industry, and you guys are in an organization that has helped pushing this, is what should we stop doing? We always talk about what we're doing. What should we stop doing?
And I'm not a policy person, but I wish from a policy perspective, we could stop creating so much red tape that it requires to get deployment completed. I think no matter whether you're doing it with operating cash or you're leveraging some type of financing, everybody seems to have a separate rule book that creates a lot of red tape for operators to actually get the deployment done. And I think a lot of it adds additional spend and costs, and that's unfortunate. So I think if we could simplify policy and procedure for the executing the deployment, that would be incredible.
That's a great one. Josh, Patrick, anything you think we should stop doing?
I think that's a great one. Unnecessary red tape is a huge issue. I agree.
I think we should stop assuming that local governments have a direct interest in what it is that we're doing, and respect the sovereignty and autonomy of the local governments that represent all of us. I mean, like, if someone's digging up my road, I want to know that that's being regulated. So, yeah, I think that show them some respect.
2 more questions, the lightning round. If you could add one track to Fiber Connect, and you guys actually can do this. I mean, if you could add one track to Fiber Connect 2027, what would it be?
Companies submitting their bloopers for deployment. Because every company has a story. Every company has a blooper, right? Where something's happened that they don't necessarily want to admit, but if they could in a bit of an anonymous way, everybody would have a blooper they could recreate. I think people could generally sit in that session and just get a good belly laugh and some comic relief about what we face every day in our industry.
That's a good one.
We have these conversations sort of seeded throughout, but to see like a dedicated track on marketing and sales, loading the network, building the network is easy. Like, I mean, I realize it's complex and expensive, but like getting people to actually buy your product, that's tough.
Yeah. And I'll go on that. I think a track on product management, how all this comes together, different technologies, applications, and use cases.
All right, last question. In 5 years, the company that wins in the broadband space is the one that fill in the blank.
Acquires all the other ones.
I thought he was going to go with is part of the FBA, but okay.
Oh, shoot. I missed my shot. Yeah.
That was a toss. Jessica, what about you?
Diversification. I think the company who not only is successful in a highly effective and efficient network, but also leverages the various applications and future visions that fiber can uphold.
Last but certainly not least.
I think it's it's the one that provides the most overall value for the lowest cost possible price.
I think you're right. Patrick, Jessica, Josh, thank you so much for taking the time today to talk about the upcoming event, some of the issues that are facing in the fiber broadband or just in the telecommunication industry. The Fiber Connect event 2026 is May 17th to the 20th in Orlando, and apparently at a pretty kick-ass place to go see at the Gaylord. So if you want to learn more about it, you can go to, I think it's fiberconnect.fiberbroadband.org, I think is the URL.
That's correct.
Right. You can
That's right.
You can correct me. Again, thanks so much. And we're looking forward to an amazing event this year. And let's keep the conversations going. I think this is how we make progress in our industry, is by talking about the hard things. So thank you guys again. And you can see our podcast on wherever you get your podcasts, on YouTube, Spotify, or online. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Nick.
Thank you.
Thank you.